जय वृषपाद परमहंस परिव्रजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर शत श्रीमद इस डिवाइन ग्रेस भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती ठाकुर महाराज श्री प्रभुपाद की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। नमाचार्य श्री हरिदास ठाकुर की जय। प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंद राधा कुंद गिरि गोवर्धन की जय। ब्रज में वृंदावन धाम की जय। नवदीप मायापुर धाम की जय। गंगा माई की जय। भक्ति देवी की जय। तुलसी महारानी की जय। समावित भक्त वृंद की जय। निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे। All glories to assembled devotees. All glories to assembled devotees. All glories to assembled devotees. Glories to Shri Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. We are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto first, chapter number 9, passing away of Vishnudev. Yesterday we saw the realization of Vishnudev, seeing Lord Krishna. He will be acknowledging as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and yet he has his own particular relationship as well as the intensified devotional service with the mood and as a servitor. So today's verse is further glorification of Lord Shri Krishna as his worshipable deity. Text number 23. Bhaktya-vesha manaha yasmin vacha yad nama kirtayan yajan kalevaram yogi muchyate kama karmabhihi bhaktya-vesha mano yasmin vachayan nama kirtayan tyajan kalevaram yogi muchyate kama karmabhihi bhaktya-vesha mano yasmin vachayan nama kirtayan tyajan kalevaram yogi muchyate kama karmabhihi bhaktya-vesha mano yasmin vachayan nama kirtayan tyajan kalevaram yogi muchyate kama karmabhihi. attention, avishya, meditating, manaha, mind, yasmin, in whose, vacha, by words, yat, Krishna, nama, holy name, kirtayan, by chanting, yajan, quitting, kalevaram, this material body, yogi, the devotee, muchyate, gets released, kama karma bihi, from fruitive activities. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. The personality of Godhead who appears in the mind of the devotee by attentive devotion and meditation and by chanting the holy name releases the devotee from the bondage of fruitive activities at the time of his quitting the material body. Yoga means concentration of the mind detached from all other subject matter. And actually such concentration is samadhi, or 100% engagement in the service of the Lord. And one who concentrates his attention in that matter is called a yogi. Such a yogi, devotee of Lord, engages himself 24 hours daily in the service of the Lord, so that his whole attention is engrossed with the thoughts of the Lord in ninefold devotional service, namely hearing, chanting, remembering, worshipping, praying, becoming voluntary servant, carrying out orders, establishing friendly relationship, and offer all that one may possess in the service of the Lord. By such practice of yoga or linking up with the service of the Lord, one is recognized by the Lord Himself, as it is explained in Bhagavad Gita concerning the highest perfectional stage of samadhi. The Lord calls such a rare devotee the best amongst all the yogis. Such a perfect yogi is enabled by the divine grace of the Lord to concentrate his mind upon the Lord with a perfect sense of consciousness. And thus, by chanting his holy name before quitting the body, the yogi is at once transferred by the internal energy of the Lord to one of the eternal planets where there is no question of material life and its concomitant factors. In material existence, a living being has to endure the material conditions of threefold miseries, life after life, according to his fruitive work. Such material life is produced by the material desires only. Devotional service to the Lord does not kill the natural desires of the living being, but they are applied in the right cause of devotional service. This qualifies the desires to be transferred to the spiritual sky. General Vishwadeva is referring to the particular type of yoga called Bhakti Yoga, and he was fortunate enough to have the Lord directly in his presence before he quits his material body. He therefore desired that the Lord stay before his view in the following verses. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshulmilitanyena Tasmai Sri Guruve Namah Sri Chaitanya Manobishtam Sthapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamakyam Dadati Swapadaantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Jatapada Kamalam Sri Guru Vaishnavascha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunatham Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Sri Vishakhanitanscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastate Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vanchakalpatarupyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavunebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namaha Vishnupada Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Desatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Vedanta Shivasadi Purvapura Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Bhaktya Mano Yasmin Yabacharya Nam Kirtayan Tejan Kalevaram Yogi Muchyate Kama Karma. The personality of Godhead who appears in the mind of the devotee by attentive devotion and meditation and by chanting the holy name releases the devotee from the bondage of fruitive activities at the time of his quitting the material body. This is similarly spoken by Lord Shri Krishna, Antakale Chamameva Smaranukva Kalevram Saprayati Padabhavam Jatinatra Shamsha. The same principle has been affirmed by Bhishma Pitama. Bhishma Pitama is on the deathbed of arrows, and he had been given a benediction that you cannot quit the body without your desire to quit. Means Bhishma Pitama was given the benediction of Ichham Mrityu. Ichham Mrityu means whenever he desires, he will quit the body. So, all these arrows which make the bed, they have been pierced in the backside of Bhishma Pitama. So much blood must have been flown out. But such benediction is that, yes, the arrows have been shot in the front, it could have been a different matter. In the front, there is very less protection, but the back side is giving a lot of protection. So, Vishnu Vidama was on the deathbed. He would not be able to fight anymore because he gave up voluntarily. And Arjuna pierced his back. So, otherwise Arjuna also got off from the chariot and tried to hold Lord Krishna's feet not to kill Krishna. It means he was also out from the fighting position. So naturally one may wonder, and then if Bhishma Pitama gave up the fighting, he put aside his bow and arrow, and Arjuna had to pick up. So displacement was there. They were not in front of each other. So Krishna ordered, Arjuna, now it is time. Shoot him. So even though he was catching his leg, he had to give up and he has to take the order of Krishna. So all the arrows were pierced from the back that made Bhishma Pitama fall off. So he was actually on the deathbed lying. That many arrows have been pierced. So, Antakale Chamameva Smaranukva Kaleva. Bhishma Pitama has known, but he also wanted Krishna to be established in two-handed form as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. If you have four hands, it will be difficult to come back to the original form, because all the four-handed forms three Vishnus, Karmadakshaya Vishnu, Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, and Kshirodakshaya Vishnu. They are embedded in him when Krishna descended through their path. They merge in. So Krishna remained two-handed form. Right? And this is the original form. Even Aniruddha, who's called Paramatma, is a Kshirodakshaya Vishnu form. And emerged in the body of Lord Krishna. Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh. That Vishnu entity, who is Aniruddha, he was accompanying within the body of Krishna. All the avatars are there in the embodiment of Lord Krishna. They have to merge. So, here it is, the description of Vishnu Pitama, that one has to remember the Supreme Lord before quitting the body. How it has been reiterated as the personal experience through Lord Shri Krishna's teachings. Here the word Bhaktyaveshya is important because it becomes a general practice for them. While Krishna was instructing to Arjuna, he is using Mayaveshya. Mayaveshya manoye mam. So, this is Bhaktyaveshya manoye mam. So, Bhaktyaveshya mano yasmin vacha yad nama kirtayan. Whose mouth is engaged in chanting the holy name and glorifying Lord Shri Krishna. That consciousness should be there at the time of quitting the body. Because the purpose of giving up the body with a voluntary realization of Lord Shri Krishna as the Supreme Lord, simply remembering him at the time of death, one can certainly become of his consciousness and can get liberated from bodily conception and go back to Godhead immediately. Antakale jamameva smaran muktva kalevaram. The same experience Vishnu Pitama is now aware of it, that he has to quit the body, he has to remember only Krishna. How he remembers Lord Krishna during his interactions with the Pandavas and Kauravas will be now manifested in front of all those who are listening. All those who are listening, they are there. It is said that Duryodhana was not killed during that time. Duryodhana was still alive. And there is an episode that Vishnu Pitama wanted to drink water. And Duryodhana sent all his, people, go and get water. And Vishnu Pitama, you do not know. Arjuna will get. So Arjuna remembered Krishna and shot the arrow in the earth, and the flow of the water came in his mouth. People may be so much practicing externally all the rules and regulations to achieve for the favor of the Lord. But they will not be thinking internally like meditation, and repose themselves and remembering the Lord 24 hours a day. So external activities are actually the hampering or becoming obstacle in pursuit of remembrance, the Supreme Personality of God. We have to minimize. So at the time of putting the body, if we remember and concentrate on Lord Shri Krishna's, name, pain, mind qualities and activities, then we get into that bhav, that mood. Yam yam vapi smaran bhava. Smaran bhava means what? Bhava. Bhava stage is coming only after asakti, bhava and prema. It means a person must have reached to, say, liberation and stopping all his fruitive activities and employing all his attention in serving mentally the Lord Shri Krishna. So, bhava cannot be generated without the desire that creates greed for him. Greed is very important. If you want to become greedy for Lord Shri Krishna, not for anything else, material. Profit, adoration, and distinction. These are binding to the material body. But after quitting the bodily conception, then one is free to develop with intensified devotional service that not only liberate him from the bodily conception of life, but at the same time allow him to enter into attracting the spontaneous devotional service. Rati, asakti, bhav, and prema. These are the 4 stages of spontaneous devotional service. So, if you are attracted for the spontaneous devotional service, everybody has some inclination, but you have to practice through the regulated principles of devotional service and then come to the maturity of it. Then naturally you will be able to remove the unnecessary, unwanted, obstacles that are called unearthers in our life that will allow us to progress in devotional service without any hindrance. That stage is called nishtha. Nishtha means unshakable faith. Now nobody can deviate you. Otherwise circumstances were there to deviate us. But this is the way to make a definitive progress in devotional service. And once you are liberated from the bodily conception of life, you do not have to quit the body immediately. You quit the bodily conception of life. Give up. So you will be able to serve Lord Krishna in a regulated principle, but now you will be able to serve him with your intensified desires to serve him. That is called greed. Laulyam is very important. It is one of the main, ingredients in essential performance of bhakti. Laulyam is extremely important. Without laulyam, you will never progress into the bhajana pranali, the intrinsic method that we are studying there. Without laulyam, no. So here it is said that Yasmin vacha yannam kirtayam. His mind is always absorbed in chanting of Hare Krishna, even vibrating his tongue, and glorifying. So he never stops to preach and glorify the Supreme Lord. He cannot shut up his vacha. And knowingly, the yogi who has now control over all the five senses and the organ, he'll be able to concentrate on the Supreme Absolute Truth, personality. And when he is standing before you, yes, he can stand before you. Because after liberation, the process further takes us to Vidyate Hridaya Granthi Childyanti Sarva Samshaya Shriyanti Jasya Karmani Drashta Eva Atmanishware. That position is coming. If you know this Bhagavad Dharma, which is composed of 5 slokas given in the second canto, first chapter, and this process is itself a very qualified process of cleansing the heart. So you must hear Shravatam Swakatam Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtanam Hridayam Tascharya Bhadrani Vidhumati Sudit Satam Nashta Prayashu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavati Sevaya Bhagavati Uttamastoke Bhakti Bhagavati Nishtiti Tada Rajastamo Bhava Kamado Bhadashte Chetai Tirhanavitam Sthitam Sattve Prasiddhati. So evam prasanna manaso Bhagavad Bhakti Yogata Bhagavad Tattva Vijnanam Mukta Sangasya Jayate. Mukta Sangasya means you are, even though in the material world, but you are not attached to the material nature. All the 3 modes of material nature are subsided and you are situated in spiritual nature. Satchidanand. So, in that state, you don't have any more misconceptions in your heart. Vidyate Hridaya Granthi. There are tight knots of ignorance from the very beginning, so they cannot, and they will be slashed to pieces. Chindyanti Sarva Samshaya. All the doubts of taking the shelter towards Lord Krishna, utterly they have been removed. And you are ready to surrender yourself to Lord Krishna at the time of putting him on. Shiyate Jasya Dharma. The devotee is still engaged in activities, but his activities are not going to bind through the karmic reactions of the truths. Kshiyante, as soon as you perform the deity worship, or as soon as all the karma that has you employed, there are no more karma. There is no reaction. It is ever an enlivening exchange of the transcendental sentient feelings that can be exchanged. The Pujari can have access to that because they are dealing directly with the body of the Vigraha. Body is the Vigraha of the Supreme Personality Godhead, who is placed in the form of Paramatma in each and every atom, whether dead or alive. So, in third canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, Kabir Dev instructs Mother Devavati about intensified devotional service that is allowed. So, we should not become only externally related to the deity because that is The principles of devotional service, whether they are regulated or they are on the level of what we call raganuga. Intensify greed is essential to develop the attachment on the spiritual aspects. And this greed will lead to the actually greed and asakti, almost the same situation is there. Asakta means you have to become totally attached. Asakta. Anasakta means detached. But anasaktasya vishayan yatha arham upayunjata. All the subject matters that we are supposed to remain detached is material in nature. But the yatha arham upayunjata, for the purpose of our steadfastness for the spiritual. So, nirbandhe Krishna sambandhe. Our attachment should not be the question, but Krishna's attachment. We can develop that. The nirbandhe Krishna sambandhe yukta vairagya uchyate. That is called the yukta vairagya. Yukta means the one that makes you more aligned or attached to Lord Krishna. So attachment means asakti. If you have attachment with the spiritual life, that's not a bad thing. So this process is so perfect that it develops into gradual realization, and Krishna knows the principles of deity worship, principles of devotion directly to Lord Krishna. The yogi means the practitioner, one who tries to connect himself with Lord Krishna for once and all, is the business of the yogi. But there are many kinds of so-called yogis. Those whose business is not for the end of attainment of Lord Krishna's. They end up in different kinds of Astasiddhi, Navaniti, KATHA. They don't want Krishna, but they want Krishna's opulence. Right? So, anyway, a devotee is the perfect yogi. Yoginam api sarvesham madgatinantaratmanam shraddhavan bhajati. So, may yukta tapomata. Krishna says, is my opinion, yukta tapomata. So, he is abiding me. So, naturally, at the time of death, one has to abide by Lord Krishna and his personification. Vedavyasapriya proves that personified Lord Krishna is standing before him. He can't ignore it. His influence is there, but when the personality is there, then his influence as well as his local, both are embedded in. They cannot be separated. That is the absolute truth to be known in the three phases. Vadanti tattva vidastatvam yad jnanam advayam brahmeti parmatmeti bhagavan vishabdati. When you approach the Bhagavan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, either by conceptual thinking but meditating, or by the benevolence of Lord Krishna himself, that Vishnu Pitama got the opportunity to leave the body before his presence, very presence. So in either case, whether it is conceptual or whether it is impersonification, the destination is sure. And karma cannot bind. Kshiyante chasya karmani. Kshiyante means nullified. All the activities of devotional service, they do not bear any other binding results. Rather, they are liberating, and not only, but they are pleasing to Lord Krishna. So, this act of devotional service are always wanted. That is called akarma also. Kama karma bihi muchyante. One is freed from the fruitive activities. So even though the result may be there, but he is detached. Because he is attached to Krishna, and will be detached automatically to the material nature. You can't do both. Neither you can balance both. It's just like riding two opposing horses together. One put on a horse that is on the other direction, and another put on another horse. You're going to fall off. So we have to make our life, even though we are in material world performing all these different chores, but at the same time, if our horses are opposite, then it will not stay. The result will be completely disastrous. So we have to balance just for a while, but then give up. How long should I maintain the struggle for existence in this material world? There's no time limit. As soon as you realize that material world is simply struggle for existence and the survival of the fittest, you fall into a hedonistic society created by Darwin. So you have to be very intelligent enough. Then we have to ultimately lift our foot. Even we will become completely dysfunctional to do any physical activity. But your mental activity should be very sharp and one-pointed. So, Antakale Mameva Smaran. That is the same thing. Bhaktya Vishamayo Yasmin Vachayatra Ayan Nama Kirtayan Tyajan Kalevaram Yogi Michyate Kamakar. That is the perfection of yoga, one staying in the whole form of life. I was reading about the comments that came that the human form of life is the best opportunity. Of course, it is also glorified in Bhagavatam. It is the best suitable book. And the favorable wind is chanting of Hare Krishna Mahamantra. But there must be a proper guide in our life who should take the rudder in his hand to navigate. So boat will ply safely. On our own, it is difficult. Otherwise, if we don't have any guide properly, then there is no security. Prabhupada said at the time of death, everybody has to fly their own aeroplane, and you cannot say that you do not know how to fly with it. You would not be allowed to argue like that. Oh, I didn't know how to fly. Therefore, even the demigods want to come in human form of life because it's the best opportunity. Otherwise, they are stuck for hundreds and thousands of years of their lifespan simply
Swami, but he be elected.